fuck is going on? Welcome back to Desire to Inspire, your mama's favorite podcast. I'm
You
coming live from
heard?
Arizona, baby. First one. First one.
First one, brother. How was the drive?
Actually, dude, the drive was way easy. Like it didn't feel like and actually it was. So it says 12 hours,
Hmm.
but I had to take my brother to the airport, which that was 40 minutes. Then it added 40 minutes. So it was damn near 14 hours. But honestly, like it didn't feel bad at all. There's only one point. I have I ever told you like what I do when I drive on like my
No.
my road trips?
Uh-uh.
When I'm getting tired, I smack the shit out of myself. Like
You
legitimately, like leave marks on my face, smack the shit out of myself. So like now I get to the point where like I'll call someone and be like, "Yo, I gotta talk." Because if I'm talking, I'm staying up. So like I
kind of
called my
offended if you
mom.
didn't call me.
Yeah, I called my mom. And she's like, "What's up?" I'm like, I was getting ready to smack myself, so I figured I'd call you because they know, like my family knows. That's just what I do. So I didn't have to. I only felt that way one time, so it was
All right,
good.
that's good.
But it was
Nice.
also like way better views than I expected it to be.
Really?
Like driving through Arizona was some of the coolest like driving I've ever done.
Oh
It was
wow.
like through mountains and shit, and it was super green, which I knew like there was some green like in this area, but I
Yeah,
didn't expect it the way that it was. So it was super cool.
that's dope. Did
Yeah.
you and Dami drive separately?
hmm
Okay.
She had a worse drive actually though.
Why?
So like she went straight from the house. So for some reason it took her like up through Colorado mountains. She said it's
Oh,
pitch black and she like pulls up and she sees like this giant figure in the street and she's like, "What the dude?" There was she said she saw like half a dozen moose, like huge like moose just in the street. I was
that's
like,
fucking
"Holy shit!"
wild.
I was so happy I didn't go that way. I would have been shitting my pants.
Remember when we were with my uncle and we saw all those elk? There's
Elk,
like
yeah.
27 elk. Yeah, that's
hmm
wild. That's one thing I miss, and that's one thing that I've kind of had in my mind lately is what the
Wildlife.
future is to hold. Will I stay in Texas? Will I move? Will I just miss like an outdoor, and obviously I can be outdoor here,
Yeah.
but I can see across the state because it's so freaking flat here.
Right. Do you
So
see
I kind
your
of miss.
like long term there?
I always told myself I wanted to live in one or two more places to get uncomfortable
Yeah.
and see what that is like. So for the short foreseeable future, yeah, but I could see myself moving away and then possibly coming back here.
Yeah.
But I've
I feel
always
that.
always had a dream of living in Colorado, and then my uncle is in like family and everything from even the time that I like mentioned that I was going to be moving away. They're like, "Oh, I think you would love the Carolinas. I think you would love the Carolinas," and obviously, our boys moving out there.
Yeah, you'll get to check it out soon.
Yeah, my dude Ray's out there. My buddy Shy's out there. So there's people out there that it would kind of feel like moving home in a sense of like I would know someone. I wouldn't
Yeah.
move to a state that I didn't know anyone. So I got my uncle out in Colorado. I've got them in the Carolinas. And for my birthday this year, we're going down to North Carolina to do like a week trip, see what it's like, go over to South Carolina, check it out.
Nice.
So I don't know. We'll see what happens, man.
Yeah,
The
I
mind is
feel
moving.
yeah, I felt like coming here it was better because obviously like I knew Justin here. Obviously
Yeah.
the goal was to get to Dallas, but it just didn't happen. It wasn't even a possibility, which is what sucks. Like it wasn't even like we could take a little bit of a pay cut and come. It was like there was the closest thing in Texas was Houston. I'm like, I'm not trying to live in Houston for three
Yeah.
months.
I mean, that'd be like you living in Colorado would defeat the purpose of
Yeah,
why you
what
try
we
to
were
get
trying to
here.
do.
Yep.
But honestly, like everywhere we go so far, like when we went to Austin and like when we go wherever, it's like we always say like we don't know where we're gonna be long term. Like we're like, I don't know if Colorado is it. But every time we
Hmm.
go somewhere, it's like, damn, I'm ready to get back to Colorado. It's like it's
Yeah.
always like that. But I don't know, man. Like granted, we've only been here for like 4 days, but I actually like it a lot here. Like it's a
Really?
lot way better than I expected to. And like Dami always says, like she's like, I love tropical vibes. Like if there's palm trees, she's in. And we
Yeah.
pulled down our street, dude, and you can just see like 20 palm trees. And she was like, I didn't expect this at all. The only place we had been is Tucson last
Yeah.
year. And it's like legit desert. It's like it's on the border of Mexico. So it's like straight up like Mexico.
Hmm.
So it was totally different. And like so I think she's gonna be fucking obsessed with it here once we're done.
That's dope. Yeah. I don't know. Just signed a new lease, moving there in July. So we're definitely locked in for a little bit. But yeah, we'll see where life takes us, man. I want to get
Yeah, for sure.
uncomfortable. I want to get uncomfortable again. I want to see another place. And two, just I think it's a great mental state, and maybe we'll take this podcast in this way and do the other one.
That's what I was gonna say. We were gonna do like a catch up one, and this is just kind
Yeah.
of what it's become.
Because I've noticed lately that obviously now I'm done with 75 hard. It was a great journey, great thing, but I noticed that day 72 through 76 or 77.
Mm-hmm.
I know it stops at 75, but those were the hardest fucking days mentally. Like I was in my head bad, and I want people to like know and
It's because you could see
realize
the finish line. It's like, and do I really need to do these next 2 days? Like, I already know I'm
it
done.
wasn't even like around the challenge. It was just like the way I was looking at myself, the way I was talking to myself, the
Mm,
perception I have of me. And so like I want people to know that I've been told by individuals, you don't struggle with depression, you don't struggle with anxiety, you don't struggle with body this, you're in shape, you have the good genes. And one, I don't, people have this perceived notion of me because I don't identify with anything.
right.
And so I had somebody reach out to me and they were like, are you guys going to do an episode on depression? And I was like, I don't know, we might. And I would never do an episode titled depression or us just sit here and talk about it, because
No.
I think the second you start identifying with something, the more that comes to life and it actually happens. And so with that, I'm not discrediting or saying that depression and anxiety aren't real, but I'm saying how can we talk about it in a positive way to overcome it, without having to keep bringing up the words. It's the same thing with I have somebody that I know that's quitting smoking right now. And I'm like, okay, instead of you keep telling me that you miss cigarettes and that you miss smoking, say cigarettes are nasty. Start
Dude,
telling
this is
yourself like, I don't
insane
need them.
that this is the way we're going. Literally last night, dude, it's like all about what you identify with. And I
Mm-hmm.
don't understand like why people continue to identify with things like they're trying to break. And we were watching this show, and like there was a very big AA scene. And I understand like that the first step is like admitting like you're an alcoholic, but like these people are years in AA, like they haven't drank in years. And every single week they stand up and they say, "Hey, my name is whatever, and I'm an alcoholic." And that
Yeah.
almost seems counterintuitive to me. And Tommy was like, "Well, that's like the first step." I'm like, "Yeah, but they're way past the first step. They've
Mm-hmm.
whole program now." And it's like, if you continue to tell yourself, like, I feel like you're going to continue to struggle with it. And granted, you're going to struggle with it either way. Like,
Yeah.
if you are someone who's like severely addicted, you are going to struggle with it. But it's just like, I don't know, like, why we put this label on ourselves and like we keep ourselves in that box.
Yeah. Because we brought up like meditation and stuff like that. And I feel like through meditation, which I have extremely put on the back burner and have not been focusing on it. But through meditation, it gives you a way to control your mind in the sense of like coming to ease with stuff or figuring out a way to figure it out. And so whether it's quitting smoking cigarettes or whether it's something you're going through mentally, or even if you're not seeing the physical aspect of the journey take place right away, try and step back and look at it. So this is what I had to do, is that physically, I'm feeling amazing. The best I've felt, even though I look at my transformation pictures I posted and I'm like, God, I look like shit. Like, was it really a good transformation? Did I really put the work in? Could have done better here? And it's like, yes, you can always improve. You can always do better,
Mm,
but look at where you were and look at what you have. There was no set goal of you have to reach this. I came 1.7 pounds away from my goal that I wanted to hit. I almost lost 13 pounds during 75 hard, but the original goal when I first entered it wasn't to lose weight.
right.
But then after I was going on the journey, I was like, all right, I want to get to like 160 area. I haven't been that in a while. And so I was a little chunky thing at like 173. And so I got down to 162.2 or something like that. So almost 13 pounds. I still plan on losing that before the end of this month. So a couple more weeks. But I started telling myself, it's like, all right, so what's bothering you? Why are you having these thoughts? And I'm not going to get into the thoughts that I was having. But it was like, there was something that was weighing on my mind. And so because I was weighing on my mind, it affected so many other areas that I was just like scooping dirt out of the ground, but scooping things out of the ground and just putting it on my shoulders and on my mind. And I was telling myself that I was not this, I wasn't that, you could do this, blah, blah, blah. And I was just putting so much pressure on myself when I realized it was stemming from just a couple things. And so I changed those around. One of them was talking to somebody and letting them know what was on my mind, because again, it was affecting me. And so after all of this was done, and after I took the steps to talk to that individual, after I took the steps to realize that there's never a perfect picture, and you're always going to have goals that you're going to continue to strive for, because I used to say not focus on my legs and back. Well, through this journey, I was like, okay, well, now I need to focus on those to tighten up these muscles and to make these changes. And I started outlining all of this stuff. And now day 80 through 82, right, or 78 through 82 right now that I would technically be on, dude, my mind's clear. I'm talking to myself better. I'm realizing what I have done, what I need to do, what I have to work on. And so all of that is me stemming from, if you're experiencing some sort of depression, anxiety, you get anxious, whatever the circumstances is that's weighing on you, take a step back and look at it and be like, okay, well, what's weighing on me? Are there thoughts that I need to do? Are there things that I need to get off of my mind? Are there situations I put myself in where I'm not comfortable, whether it's at work, whether it's the people I surround myself with, and realize that it's only going to change if you do it. And so you can't rely 100% on the group of people that you surround yourself with. Yes, you want to go to them for some sort of backing, but their goals aren't your goals. If you want to quit something and they don't, you can't fault them for continuing to do it. And so sometimes it takes stepping back and, distancing yourself from everything to make proper steps forward. Like I wrote in our news article last week, sometimes a couple step back will give you tremendous growth forward towards those goals, or towards the clarity that you need to put yourself through to come out tenfold better on the other end of it. And so that was just something that I've been going through the last week and a half. Is just really mentally being in my head and not having the best thoughts, not communicating the best things for me, that I was fighting one-on-one. And then I just took that step back, realized what I needed to do to try and go in the right direction. And it has helped a lot.
I think that the biggest thing is to kind of go back to whoever asked, are we going to talk about depression? And I don't want to say that we don't struggle with these things. I just think that society and the mass public views depression as you can't leave the bed, and it completely runs your life, and anxiety is this thing that you can't get past. But at the end of the day, we all struggle with it to an extent. It doesn't have to be to this extreme for it to be prevalent in your life. And so people go through these phases where you went through. Sure, it was 5 days or 2-3 days, 4-5 days, whatever it was, but that doesn't mean that that's not the same thing. Just because someone faces it every single day doesn't take away from the fact that you faced it for a few days. So it's the same thing. It still needs to be worked on in the same way, and it needs to be processed the same way. But people get so caught up on I'm not really depressed, which could ultimately make it worse. If you were throwing all this shit on yourself and you're oh, but I'm not really depressed, you're not going to fix this shit, and you're not going to get through to that other side.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that it just like all things, they come in different realms, they come in different wavelengths for people, but you can experience any sort of depression and anxiety on a short-term scale, a long-term scale. But what's most important is, whether it's short or long-term, how are you working on it to fix it? And so like we talked about, I think therapy is an amazing thing. But the one thing I hate about therapy is that you just sit there and talk about it. It's okay, well, what steps are you taking outside of that to then work on yourself? And so the thing that I always say, and the thing that I always preach, is a plan with no action is nothing. And it's the same thing for mental states and physical states. Is okay, you can talk about it and you can make it known, but what are you doing to try and correct the things that are either weighing on your mind or not giving you the results you want? And that's realizing that your situation is different than everybody else's, and nobody's going to experience what you're experiencing because you're you. And so talk about it, do what you need to do to get it off your chest, but make sure you're doing tangible, actionable things on the back end to make sure that this isn't just a snowball that keeps building and building and building. At some point, knock that snowball apart and then pick up the little pieces of okay, I can do this better here. I can do this better here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to focus on this. I'm going to read. I'm going to meditate on whatever it is. And all of that will start getting the snowball going in the right direction because it's going to lead to a lot more happiness. You're going to have a lot less on your mind. And we've talked before about your job. If your job isn't what you want it to be, if your job stresses you out every day, find something. There's jobs out there, but don't stop after 2 or 3 rejections.
Right.
It might not come in the first month or 2. It may
And
take
also,
4
like,
months.
don't beat yourself up over those rejections. Like, the easiest thing to do is shit on yourself, which is
Mhm.
obviously like what you were doing. Like, it's just let's throw all the shit on ourselves. But like, we're just digging ourselves into a deeper hole. Like,
Yeah.
and I
And
mean,
to
I'm guilty of it too. We all do this shit.
Oh,
Like,
yeah. And take something out of it. Every single interview or every single job that you get denied from or that you get accepted, but in the end, you're like, I don't know if that's really the one I want. Take something away from it. If there's one thing you can learn, you became better to lock in that job that you're meant to have here in the future. And that's just like one instance, but have a plan and have tangible items that you can do to improve results or get results because it's easy to talk about it and be like, yeah, I want this. This is going to change. This is going to change. But then it's even easier to sit on the couch and get caught up in those thoughts again and keep beating yourself up. So keep top of focus or mind. God, I really suck at talking on these. Keep top of mind what the problems are that you're experiencing, and then talk to yourself. As Kevin Gates said, all geniuses talk to themselves. So talk to yourselves how you're going to get through it. Figure out a plan. Figure out what you have to do. But also don't be scared to go to people and talk to them, because in the end, you can keep facing, as I like to call them, these demons in your head. I also saw a podcast where somebody names the like little voice in their head. So I've been trying to think of a name for mine, but I haven't yet. But
I
yeah,
like
I
that
mean,
actually.
yeah, life is good when you want it to be good. Life is also very easy to see the other side of it, the dark side, the side where you have the pity and the why me and why this and why is it always. But it's that because you stop when it gets to that hard point, or you stop when you
Yeah.
hit that roadblock. Don't stop. Keep prevailing. Get over it. Get over it by the hump in the road, and figure out a way to make it not why me. Figure out a way to be like, damn, I have all this luck or I have all this stuff. Because majority of the time when we get in these funks, it's because we stop because something got hard or we don't like the results or outcome of what happened. So keep that top of mind, man.
Nothing changes if nothing changes.
It's a fact. Sorry, I talked a lot on that one,
Oh
but
no,
it
you're
was just,
good. I mean, you're the one who's going through it, man. I mean, I'm glad you got through it,
yeah.
but I mean, chances are it's probably gonna fucking rear its ugly head again. So
Yeah.
be
I mean,
prepared.
it always does. It always does. But that's why we do this, is because if somebody's not talking about it or people don't realize that other people go through stuff, um,
Yeah,
then
this is
things
just
are,
as much for us as it is for like everyone
mm-hmm.
else. Like, we're not talking about this just because we feel like you guys need to hear it. Like, this is shit that we genuinely need to talk about too. Because like, if we don't, then we're gonna keep it inside too. So like, whether you talk about it on a mic for everyone else to hear, or you talk about it to yourself, or you talk about it to somebody else, like, the point is like, talk about the shit. Like, even if it's in your head, like you just said, geniuses talk to themselves.
They do.
Like, just talk to somebody about it, even if it's yourself. Like, you got to
Yeah.
talk through the shit.
Yeah. Life is fucking amazing. And so this is the thing, is that I have this like love of life, but I want to make sure that other people experience that, because I've been through fucked up situations and fucked up times where it's easy to get down and it's easy to get sad and upset, or it's easy to put these like thoughts in your head about what other people are going to think because you went through this, or what other people are going to think because you made it through something in your life. But it's like, fuck that. Like, figure out the direction you're going and then roll with it. Everybody's going to have an opinion no matter what it is that you're going through in life. So just enjoy this. We have one shot at it. And only thing that's promised is death. And so before you get to that point, whether you want to be a multimillionaire or you want to be somebody that stays in their hometown, or you want to be Joe Schmo's best friend, like, just fucking make the most of life, be happy, and realize that the little hiccups you go through in life are only testaments to the great story that you're writing for yourself. And so I don't know how to word that differently, but like, create the story that you're proud of, that you're happy of, because all of the social media and the bullshit that we hear about in the news and on these platforms, very few of them actually make life impacts to you. So create your own news, create your own story, and do the things that you love and actually genuinely care about.
Yep.
So That's all I got, man.
That's all I got too.
Hey, live and love life, have the desire to inspire, do it right now. And remember that times do get hard, but they're supposed to, because that's how you learn and grow and become better. And just keep doing your thing, baby.
Catch you in the next one. Don't forget to buy your shaker bottle, kids.